You're listening to The Sizzle on Iron Skillet Radio and Iron Skillet Television.
You know who it is. You know what it is. It's The Sizzle. Back in the building. You know who's here. Rich SIZZLE G. SIZZLE. We're here in the building, and we're going to talk about the Chicago Bears. We got to break it down. We got to tell you what we saw. What we saw, because we saw it. But before we do that, remember, if you have not liked, subscribed, and shared, please make sure you do so. Hit the subscribe all button, and you get all the content. You can go back and look at predictions that Rich SIZZLE has made. You can find out how to run your fantasy league. You can even find out what's Jay's opinion on probably Stephen A. Smith. I mean, it's all kinds of content there for you. So you can look there right at the Sizzle. Look, man, I'm telling you, Iron Skillet Sports, that's all you need. Everything that you need to know about sports is there. So let's get ready to talk about the Chicago Bears. All right, Rich.
Drum roll, please.
Okay. All right, then let's get ready to talk about it. All right.
That might be the most excitement we have yet.
That might be. But after watching the first preseason game that the Bears played against Miami, and let's say this, they did an intramural squad practice with Miami like all week. So probably after about the third day, you should know their tendencies and what they're going to do. But granted, Miami has a great defense in their secondary. They have a good secondary. They take away a lot of plays. But, Rich, did we see the coming of the Cleat Messiah in Justin Fields for the Bears?
I tell you, the hype van is there for them. Boy, they are. They're basically, it's not a fact of if, but when. And we kind of said that, we hinted on it, we kind of joked about it, with offensive line probably not being able to protect Andy Dalton the way that Andy Dalton wants him to. But I mean, he did not look bad. I would say his first couple of times out looked a little nervous, but as he kind of got into a rhythm, into a groove, he started looking really good. He was mobile. He was moving around. He made good throws. Is he week one start material? I mean, at another team, maybe so. But you do have a veteran quarterback right in front of him. The expectations when they signed him was that he would be a starter. So, I mean, this is business, though. I've always been a fan of saying, hey, let the best man win. I'm not convinced that at this point, Justin Fields is the best man at this point, just because you had one good preseason outing where everything's pretty scripted. Yes, Miami does have a pretty good defense, but like you said, they've been practicing with each other all week long.
Right.
I mean, at a certain point, preseason is just like the All-Star game in basketball. Everybody is kind of, you have a few people trying to make a name for themselves. Everybody else is going to be out there. They're going to play a few reps, get their feet wet. Okay, I still remember what I'm doing. I'm back out of here. I'm sit back here and let somebody else who's fighting for a roster spot do what they got to do. Everybody else is just going through the motions.
Yeah, we can see how hard it is, even with Ladarius Mack, which is the little brother to the Superman linebacker. We can see him he got cut. It's not easy to make this 52-man roster. It's even harder when you have players like Robert Quinn who are getting injured again, when you got your nose tackle still on the COVID list, just coming back to practice this week. So much going on. So when we first looked at Justin Fields for the first half, the first time we saw him, it looked terrible. It looked god awful. I started having sweat flashes about last year. I was like, oh my God. He's Mitchell Trubisky with a box. Oh my God. You had the line jumping off sides. You had people not knowing where they were supposed to be. And then all of a sudden, The skies opened up and rained down such a greatness of football godry that it was nothing like it I'd seen before. It was the man, the myth, the legend, the person that ESPN has run a story about every day since the game. Justin Fields, greatest man ever to put on cleats and a football. There, I said it. I like it. He's even greater than Peyton Manning's brother.
I will say this: if he lives up to half the hype that they've given him, he's gonna be a legend. I mean, geez, and I'm not knocking him. I truly hope you can't do any worse than what we already have. There's a funny little meme they showed about the expectations of all the up and coming quarterbacks, and like how Mac Jones had to win, I think, 6 championships to equal out Tom Brady, and they had Justin Fields over corner and said, just be better than Jay Cutler. And I mean, like, well, don't have much to really stand up for. But I mean, I really have high hopes for him. Like you said, I think he just was nervous once he got his feet underneath him. I'm not going to go out far and say he sat there and channeled his inner, Joe Montana or nothing like that, but he looked really good. At
least he channeled his inner Randall Cunningham. So at least at some point you said that this boy is going to be a professional because he knows what he's doing, and he is great at being great, I guess. I guess so. Yes. Yeah. He is. He
has the intelligence of an NFL quarterback. He has the speed, the precision, and as long as he stays healthy, he should have a long career in NFL.
Okay, so Rich, then that leads us back to the first question about if he does edge out Andy Dalton. Now, you said it is a business, and we know Andy Dalton's here on a 1-year, $10 million deal. So ultimately, I mean, he's getting veteran backup money. But I'm at your point. I don't know if he's the better if Justin Fields right now is the better quarterback option. I've heard both sides. Some say he's there, just throw him out there. Then other people have said be cautious. My concern would not be that it's Andy Dalton. My concern is that your line is still in shambles. It is horrific. And if you're going to put this young man out there, I want at least a stable line. I want a stable left tackle. I want a stable something. I don't know. What do you think, Rich? What is the ultimate way to settle this whole debate and argument with Justin Fields?
The thing about Andy Dalton, let's talk about Andy Dalton, because I do expect that week 1, Andy Dalton will start. Here is where the all eyes on me kind of thing is. What you're going to wait to see may not happen. You're going to wait to see if Andy Dalton messes up. Let's just be honest. You're either going to see him get hurt or you're going to see him mess up. When Andy Dalton was with Cincinnati, he kind of reminds me of a poor man's Alex Smith. He didn't really mess up. He didn't make spectacular plays. His arm, he's not throwing 100-yard bombs or anything like that. Mm-hmm. But he didn't make the arrogant decisions, the bad throws. If he wasn't there, he threw it away. You probably got frustrated because you wanted him to take a risk or whatever else like that, just wasn't there. So you may not have that. You may have one of those situations last year where you just needed a spark. And that's how Nick Foles came into the game. And then ironically lost his job, got it back, lost it, got it back. Anyway, that's probably how you see Justin Fields get in. You might just need a spark from the offense because something happened with the defense, or you're just not getting the ball downfield like you need to. I mean, we still have not dressed, like you said, we have not dressed the offensive line. Mm-hmm. We've not really dressed the receiving position like that. You still have Allen Robinson out there, which you expect him to be phenomenal, probably the only impactful fantasy option that you have for Chicago. But after him, what else do you have? And if you find a way to shut him down or slow him down or keep enough pressure away from him, where is your offensive spark going to be from? If your quarterback play is so predictable, then what's the need? So that might be where you sneak him in if they can't get any offense going. But we'll see.
Yeah, it's something to watch. It's funny you just mentioned Allen Robinson. And I've been one who's kept Allen Robinson on my fantasy teams for a couple of years. And he had sneaky good production. But last year, to your point, one of the things that you've got to be careful about with receivers is if receivers don't get chunks of yardage and they don't get touchdowns, they're useless to you in fantasy. They're just somebody that's there that looks nice. If they're not getting touchdowns and they're not getting chunks, you get 20, 40, 50-yard receptions, they're just a guy. And your team is just a lonely team with like 10 points from your receiver, if that.
Yeah. You got to think about it like this. Your receiver can go out and get 140 yards. That's 14 points with no touchdowns. Or your receiver can go out and get 50 yards and 2 touchdowns. From a numbers perspective, you want the guy with 50 yards and 2 touchdowns. Way more points on the board. So you're great point on that. It's funny that we talked about, though. I want to bring something out. I was looking at different analysts, how they rated quarterbacks. Do you know that Justin Fields is already in the top 25 for draftable quarterbacks? Andy Dalton is nowhere to be found.
Which is crazy. How do you do that and you don't even know if this kid is starting yet? I mean, you have no idea of, okay, so I draft Justin Fields. I pick him in the 7th to 10th round, 7 to 13. But he doesn't start. So then I'm screwed because unless you have a great backup, somebody probably you can get down in 14, 15, like Ben Roethlisberger, or maybe Ryan Tannehill, you're screwed. I mean, you're big buddy screwed. That's what you are. You're just.
Well, mind you this. In a 12-team league, you're going to pick one quarterback to start. You might pick a quarterback for your bench, depending on how big and how deep your bench is. So I would say that Justin Fields is not a bad option to pick as a bench player if your starting quarterback does not have an early round bye.
Right.
I don't think Justin Fields will start anytime soon. I think you will sometime in the season, but not anytime soon. And you also need to watch what the schedule looks like. You definitely don't want Justin Fields starting against an actual legitimate good defense. I mean, that might be catastrophic for you, for your team, for Justin Fields, et cetera, et cetera. The list goes on. So that's something to take a look at. That's strategy based. There's no way you pick Justin Fields as your week 1 fantasy starter. If you do that, then we got to take you back to the remedial course of fantasy options because you missed a lot of lessons somewhere.
All right, quickly, let's talk about some lessons that were lost. So, it's funny when players leave a team, they have a lot to say once they come back, or, it's the thought of them being in another place. And so the Chicago Bears had a quarterback last year. I don't know if you remember his name. A young gentleman named Mitchell Trubisky.
Oh,
Mitchell Trubisky.
Nah, I forgot about him already.
Yeah, well, Biscuit had a lot to say. And Biscuit said, now that I'm in Buffalo, okay, I'm in a place where people care about me, they love me, and they like me for me. And I can be me. And then there's this kid named Jake Fromm. Jake, it sounds like a Marvel supervillain. Jake Fromm went out last week and won the game for the Buffalo Bills, looking pretty good as their third-string quarterback. So, Rich SIZZLE, why do they still need Biscuit if they've got a Fromm?
They don't. But you look at Trubisky as a insurance policy.
Mhm.
Now, did we talk about their first option?
Josh Allen,
Yeah.
the
Now,
greatest
the funny
fantasy
thing about-
player now of all time.
No. The funny thing about Josh Allen was they talked about Josh Allen the same way we talked about Mitch Trubisky up until last year.
Mhm.
And all of a sudden, that little clicker in your head, the light bulb, came on.
Mhm.
And maybe somebody over there thinks they can turn that light bulb on for Mitch Trubisky. Maybe.
Okay.
I don't know how they're looking at preseason, though.
Their preseason looked pretty good. Fromm looked a lot better than I thought. And I know I keep going back to it, but Fromm looked pretty good. And I'm thinking to myself, like, if Fromm looks this good, it could be kind of rough for Biscuit, because I'm looking at a Tim Tebow who thought he was going to be a shoo-in in Jacksonville to be a tight end. No. I'm sorry, sir. You've been cut. You've been dismissed. You've been told bye-bye.
Yes.
Yes.
You go now.
You go and you no come back. You no coming back in this building. And now he's going to be probably an ESPN analyst. But I really, now all jokes aside though, I think Tim Tebow could be a good quarterback somewhere. He has to be.
Playing the quarterback position, though.
That's
He's
true.
just trying to find a home at this point. I don't know. I get it. He's a young man. He's trying to find some work. But the NFL don't want him. His best bet, he better go over to the CFL or something like that. Give it a shot. I don't know what to say, And speaking of the CFL, I mean, your boy Trubisky ain't too far. I mean, Buffalo right there. All you gotta do is cross the bridge, and you're right there in Niagara Falls,
Yeah.
in Canada. Oh, that might be his best option. Now, I will say, I mean, as the year goes on, you might see some interesting trades if quarterbacks go down. I mean, look what happened with Carson Wentz. Now, it looks like Carson Wentz might be ready a lot sooner than we thought, but when he was hurt, Indianapolis was panicking because they put a lot of eggs in that basket. Now they were sitting there talking about, well, Nick Foles is our third option. Let's see if we can bring him. Yeah, we got to pay a little bit of money to get him. Like you said, Trubisky, for all that he's worth, he has started in the NFL. He has a little bit of dirt on his shoulders. So it's not like you've got somebody brand new who doesn't know the routine.
True. And you see what's going on in New Orleans right now. I've always been told the old adage is where you have two quarterbacks, you really have no quarterbacks. So right now you got a situation in New Orleans where they don't even know who their starting quarterback is. Everybody's trying to figure out what to do with the backup for Ben Roethlisberger. And yeah, that's pretty. Yeah, it's bad when you don't have like a Cleveland to be like, they're garbage, so he could probably end up there. Not the case this year. Not the case. As something you said earlier, this is a weird year because you have a whole league now full of good quarterbacks.
Yes. You have competition. Look what's going on in San Francisco. You have QB battles. You might see a legitimate QB battle in Chicago. It's out there. It's happening. So there's no such thing as a guarantee. I mean, unless you're Patrick Mahomes, maybe. It's nothing guaranteed right now.
The only spot I see open for somebody would probably be in Detroit. Yeah.
No. Not at all.
I'm not a big fan. I'm not a big fan of what Detroit did.
They paid Golf money.
They did. They gave him a lot of money.
They took a lot of chances bringing him in. So just like anything else, when you put that out on the line, you've got to go with him. You've got to let him, put up or shut up. So, I mean, you might slither on as a second option and, I don't wish bad on nobody's career, but, as a backup person, you always hope for something bad to happen. So you might be able to get in.
Right.
But Yeah, that's not a viable option. Your best option is to go look to see who might get hurt the fastest and then slide underneath in there. If you're an up and coming quarterback, your best bet is probably go to Indianapolis
or probably New Jersey.
Oh, yeah.
Probably, the Jets have, but they, even their rookie look good. I'm telling you, these rookies have looked good, and your best bet right now, as crazy as it sounds, might be in Houston, and nobody knows how that's really going to turn out. I don't. No. That seems like a big mess.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't even know. Where does Deshaun Watson go after this? Like, have you seen it where he's landing in drafts?
He's not.
That's the whole point. He's not even, you can't even draft him now.
We don't know if he's going to play. We don't know what the NFL is going to do. No one has really said anything. I mean, has he been charged?
No.
I don't know. I mean, I know he's been investigated, but has actual criminal charges been filed on him? If no criminal charges have been filed on him and the NFL is not, really saying anything, he can play, but is Houston going to take that risk? Because there's still a thing, before Houston didn't want to get rid of, we're not getting rid of our franchise player and the price is going to be astronomical if you want to get them. Now it's like, hey, I'll even throw in a year's supply of of lawn chairs if you take this guy off my hands.
Right.
You can give me a 7th round draft pick in 2028.
That's right.
I'll take that. Just get them. Just take them.
And a bag full of Texas Corral gift cards if you really want to do it. I mean, it's bad shape. But you know who it is. You know what it is. It's the Sizzle in the building. Listen, this is NFL Roundup. We're going to be doing this for a while, so you might as well strap it in, baby, because this is what we're going to be doing. It's talking about the NFL and the obligatory NBA comment that, like Joel Embiid getting $80 gazillion in an extension. Yeah, good luck with that.
Trust the process.
Yes, well, the process just got trusted to get him some money. And that's what I want us to get. Money. So you know what you've got to do. If you have not liked, subscribed, and shared, make sure you hit that button. Subscribe all and get all this content. You know who's in the building. He's Rich Sizzle. I'm G Sizzle. And we will see you, my friend, on the other side.
Make sure that you follow us on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram at Iron Skillet Sports. And remember to like, share, and subscribe to Iron Skillet Sports on YouTube at Iron Skillet Sports.